And we're live. Good evening, good morning, good night. Welcome to another scene in Darkness in Dublin. This is for Mage Venue. We're just doing a bit of a follow up social after a previous scene. Essentially, a couple characters, having had some interesting events occur to them, are going to just happen to wander to Agrabah Nights because, I mean, where else do mages hang out in the city, apparently? Um, so, first person to probably arrive there would have been Benny. So take it away, Byron.
Benny will go quietly to look around the entrance, make sure there's no black vans around, and will quickly and quietly slip in to the door.
That's a good question for Adam. I'm going to hope that the black vans were mostly in that neighborhood and haven't like canvassed the entire city.
They're far away from where Agrabah Nights are.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
The purge has not started yet. We're safe.
Ow.
Exactly. Next to arrive, just to be fair, let's go with Rick. If you want to hop in.
All right. Kurzweil will probably see Benny snooping around a little, and he will do the same just to be sure there's no fuckery lurking about. He knows that people have been killing VAs by the week, so he doesn't want to be next.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, it has been happening.
So, yeah, he's definitely got a strong air of caution about him as he enters, and he kind of looks to find any familiar faces.
I'm guessing right now, since the general assumption is the PCs are the only people there at the time, other than mortal waiting staff and occasionally a genie who is not playable by anyone but Evan. So yeah,
okay.
Random faceless people who are actually very nice and friendly.
Okay, good.
And final two to arrive would be Eric and Stefanos. Stefanos would have basically just caught up to him and said, "Hey, we should probably talk about that shit that just happened. I feel like I missed shit."
Yeah,
he was much more politely, but you know.
Eric is visibly upset. Like he still looks as though something else is wrong. He still looks sad and off his game. But he is also pissed at what just happened.
Okay, so Stefanos and Eric will arrive and step in. So at this point, all four characters are present. I mean, we can get food and drinks, that kind of stuff. Once Stefanos notices the other people present, he's just going to be like, "Oh, okay." And he's just going to look at Eric and kind of lean in and be like, "So do you think we should have a talk with him?"
With who?
He nods towards the person that we both had the counter magic earlier tonight.
He nods, and his mind was elsewhere, but he nods. Yeah, we need to.
For Stefanos' part, he doesn't look angry. It's just more like what the hell? Like what was going on here? So then they black bag Benny. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God!
Black bag?
Well,
What does that mean?
Black bagging means kind of like when the government kidnaps you. They put a black garbage bag or a black bag over your head and stuff you into a van or something.
Okay, yeah.
So that was the joke.
Okay,
It's like, we need to have a talk with him. Steal him.
Yoink. Okay.
Okay, so Kurzweil, you just see these two guys who you've met them before. They're now walking over towards Benny.
Okay.
And Eric is looking none too pleased.
All right. Well, Kurzweil kind of presses a button on his smartwatch, and Burnett walks in. She kind of looks a lot like the main character from the Aeon Flux comics, and she comes and sits next to him. And then she says, he tells her, "Let's go. There's, some people." He looks at Stefanos and Mark, and he says, "Hi, what's going on?"
Oh, hello.
At the question, what is going on, Eric can't help but laugh a little. And like, oh, so much.
Yeah, don't I know it?
There was some interesting events tonight. You're welcome to listen in. This might be educational. I mean, tonight was educational for me, but
Eric looks at him. Tonight was a shit show, Stefanos.
yes, for many reasons. But I think we should go over them. Benny, would you mind coming over here for a moment, please?
Fine.
All right. So just to recap. To recap for those who might not be aware, earlier this evening there was a incident near another bar called the Tag, I believe. I've never been there before. The owner is, if he's not one of us, he's something similar. I think he's one of us, but he seemed different. There was an incident. To keep it short, and he's looking at Eric like to see if this is short enough yet covers the right details. There were some children. They were tormenting an animal. Typical young children being sadists. Ugh. And several people decided to get involved. And while there were several things done, which I found to be rather overkill, to put it mildly, just a little bit of overkill.
Uh-oh.
They more or less, and when Eric speaks up, anyone looking at him, they don't even need to roll empathy on him. They can see that he's angry. They basically decided to use magic to intimidate a child, and they ended up in awakening them, breaking them completely.
Well, to be fair, well, okay, there are two things I should point out.
Kurzweil's face is in his hand. He's just.
This needs to be pointed out. I routinely have he gestures towards his head. I perceive magic pretty much all the time, and I did not see. There were 3 people who attempted to do something before that happened. Mm-hmm. Those 3 people are sitting in this room.
Okay.
Solon, you wouldn't. It's not that the individual you would have seen with your prime signatures casted magic, like you didn't see that, but what you did see was that they were manipulating some kind of lingering, I guess you could say a resonance signature.
That's why he just said the 3 people who cast magic are the 3 people in this room.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I'll stop talking.
Eric looks at him and says, "We both know that what happened was not natural."
No, definitely not, but it could have... I hesitate to say it could have been worse, but it could have been worse. It was still, as you said, a shit show. But the child could have died. A child could have been kidnapped by someone else. There are many things that could have happened. But it was entirely avoidable. I don't like seeing animals tortured any more than anyone else does.
No one does, Eric.
But there are ways to solve that. Normal people do that without using anything. Now, yes. he looks over towards Betty. He says, "I don't know what you do, but I felt you doing something. And as there were already enough things going on, I attempted to stop you. I don't even know if it worked, but I tried. And from what I was watching, it looked like your attention," he looks over towards Eric, "was focused on him as well, so I assume you were trying to do the same thing."
Eric nods.
Now, what were you trying to do? He's asking, not like... That's fine. Take your time, man.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to kill a zombie.
Kill all of them, and kill all of them, and then pause.
What I was trying to do. I need to make a substitute listen for this.
Oh, we're going into subterfuge rolls now?
Yes.
Okay.
but quite frankly, really none of your business.
Ooh!
You don't
Okay.
know what I was up to.
Who has life sight up?
I still have light side up if it still counts as the last scene.
Are you actually looking for medical telltale signs?
Are you? That's a good question.
Well, like I would probably know that people's body language change when they lie, right? So
We'll say that you still have life sight up because it was just soon after what happened.
exactly.
His heart. I would assume, Benny, that his heart's beating a little bit faster, eh?
Normal responses to lying, essentially.
Yeah. Normal responses to lying.
Yeah.
Wait, really isn't his business though.
That's a matter of opinion.
Yeah.
Eric looks at him and says, "Look, we are done with your shit. What were you trying to do?" And I don't think anyone has actually. Eric is usually the model of civility and like trying to stay calm, but he is pissed right now.
And why?
Part of the reason is
what I did had nothing to do with the girl. Not even close. Had nothing to do with her.
That is entirely possible. However, that does not change the question. You were trying to do something to one of the sleepers. You were asking what you were trying to do. By the way, does Prime Magic actually let you see what sphere someone's trying to use?
I believe so, yes.
So I would have known it, because I have every sphere, so I would have known that was entropy.
You probably would have known that was entropy, yes. Let me just double check. Because I know Prime 1 you can discern magical effects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eric looks at him and says, "You were trying to use entropy on that sleeper. Why? And what were you doing?" Would they refer to the spheres as entropy and correspondence, etc., by the way?
I think the Hermetics have pushed that on most people.
Okay, fair.
Okay, so what I was doing was I was trying to jinx one of the winning boys to trip.
I mean,
nothing harmful, nothing that could awaken somebody. Glad that nobody who's not here currently.
So you more or less tried to place a mild, but still you tried to place a curse on a sleeper. On a child, no less. Eric shakes his head and tosses his arms up in the air. Oh, fuck, and I thought I was new.
You know, let's not engage in too quo fallacy. Just because somebody else is being a fuck up, don't invite ourselves to fuck up as well. Be bigger than a child, man. Come on, give me a break.
Who are you saying that to Eric?
No, Benny, of course.
Okay, good. I was like,
being you know what? Fuck this. Stop mumbling.
Look. I've only been doing this for, what, a month? Less than a month? But
Me too.
From what I've been told, we don't typically use our abilities on sleepers except for self-preservation. I mean, my impression is if a bunch of people come at you in an alley with guns, defend yourself, get the fuck out of there. But you're not going to just... And if you were trying to teach the children a lesson, it was misplaced because they'd already had quite enough of that. But it is not a good idea to go around using magic when it is not needed. That much has been impressed on me by several different people.
Eric nods.
And doing it on a sleeper when it is not absolutely necessary can invite bad things. There are stories that I have read. Most of the history books are very kind to the Order, but my impression is that we have a reputation of occasionally doing just that sort of thing, or we used to. There were talks of accusations of that sort of thing. Whether they were true or not, I couldn't tell you. But I could envision it happening. So what I'm saying is, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie. I am a little bit of a civic.
You
Like,
what?
come
Sorry, I
to
didn't catch
think-
that.
Huh?
A little bit
I'm
of a
sorry.
what?
I legit didn't catch what you were saying.
Civic.
Civic?
I think he means cynic.
Cynic.
As in cynical.
A little bit.
Okay.
What I do, yeah, what I did wasn't cool. I'll admit that.
If you understand that, would you give us your word you would not try to do something like that again? Unless, like, your life depended on it or something. I mean, if you had done that to a police officer who was about to find you, that'd be different.
Now I'm being treated like a kid now.
Because you
You just did something which was very foolish. Well, I'm not. If
I
we were
do
treating you
everything I
like
do for us.
if we were treating you like a child, we would be tying your hands and putting you somewhere dark in a timeout. No one's doing that. We're approaching
That
you
might-
like an adult.
That doesn't sound like too bad of an idea right now, Eric mumbles.
That's not helping right now. Just
He stands his hand like this. I'm not gonna stick around for this. Stands up. I got better things I must do.
see, I don't. Okay.
And they don't involve magic.
What are you gonna go? Are you gonna go find your childhood bully and turn them into a toad?
Still not helping, Eric. Benny, listen. There are other things we should discuss also. If
You can find
I
me
would
later.
like.
I'm done. I'm all fucking done.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
He gets up and he just leaves.
As you leave, you bump into the girl that you see before you in the picture. And she goes, "Oh, sorry, my bad."
Excuse me,
You okay?
miss. I'm fine.
Chill.
I was just can't look at them, give them a dirty look, just leaving. I'm not wanted here, Connie.
If you say so. She looks really confused and just kind of looks towards the group of you and waltzes on over.
When Eric sees her, he smiles, and she can probably see that he's both somewhat depressed and also very angry, but not at her. So
Oh.
he smiles and says, "Oh, Daniela, welcome."
Oh, you were the guy I found outside.
Yes, I was.
Didn't think. Oh, so you're a. Huh. She kind of looks
Surprised.
looks you up and down and is like, okay, fair enough. I wonder you were lying in kind of a weird place.
Yeah, that was intense.
I mean, he went up. Yeah, sorry, never mind.
No, you were gonna say.
No, that's okay.
Well, I hate to sound like Peter Parker's uncle, but this power, it bears a responsibility. You can't just go around willy-nilly flinging fucking hexes at people because you don't like them or don't approve of them.
I think everyone here at this point understands that.
You're preaching to the choir, man. It should be.
Sit down at wherever you guys are hanging out.
I'm sorry, I'm just blowing steam, guys. Don't listen to me.
Well,
So, do you guys feel that?
yes, we were there. Well,
We were there when it
the
happened.
two of us were.
Well, I was at my crafting bench, so I don't know what the hell happened. And in totality, I understand some kids were abusing an animal, and that turned into a huge clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Yes, and then people decided to take matters into their own hands. One person started with one thing, another person followed it up with another followed it up with yet more, and then on top of all those things, the fellow who just left decided he would actually try and place a admittedly minor and relatively harmless hex on a child, but that still does not excuse what he did.
No.
That's.
Wait, there are
I'm glad he
kids
was not
involved in
trying
what's
to
going down?
put some sort of lengthy, like. I'm glad he was not trying to do something even worse, but still to do it at all. That was.
Oh, and on top of that, Eric says with a bit of a chuckle, "We just had a child awaken because someone else decided it would be hilarious to."
Kids can wake up too?
Apparently.
Oh yes, I've read stories about prodigal child mages. They occur. It's rare, but it happens. No one should be forced to awaken, though. There are some bad stories about that. I don't know how I feel.
It was okay. So to explain for the two who were not present,
And all because of a fucking cat.
I mean, I like cats too, but
I like cats too, Stephanos, he says, but I don't like them more than people, and especially not more than children.
All right. So from what we could tell, we were at this bar, and a bunch of children ran by, 3 of them, I believe, 2 boys and a girl. They were tormenting a cat, and when I say tormenting, I mean they were like kicking it around, picking it up by the tail, throwing it against the wall, stuff like that.
Yes.
Kids being sadists.
Sick puppies, man.
Yeah.
Yes. It's they seem to breed like that in many places. It's not unique to any place or culture.
You almost raise your eyebrows at that comment.
He's basically saying, like, yeah, they're like that where I come from too.
Man.
Okay. That's pretty fucking crazy. So what happened next?
Well, several people got up and decided to deal with it. Everyone had their own idea of how to deal with it. Let's see, who was there? The 2 of us, the fellow who just left, Benny. Glasspaw was there, the virtual adept.
Some new girl and then some, yes. Morgan was the new girl.
Mr. Collins. And yes, I didn't recognize the other woman who was with Morgan. And then was there anyone else? Was there? I think that was it. Oh, see, I think that was it. I don't remember if there's anyone else.
Glasspaw, Collins,
Morgan, Stephanos, Eric, Benny.
Collie.
Yeah, and Collie. That was it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so Collins decided to put the fear in them. He, the one part of what he did, see, he did 2 things. He did something, and I know it was not a spell. That's why I said earlier that only 3 people attempted to do magic in this incident, and the 3 of them were myself, Eric, and Benny. Benny tried to place a minor hex on one of the children, apparently to make him trip, and the 2 of us, seeing him do something, tried to counter it. Apparently, we were successful. I did not sense anything actually happen.
Well, good for you.
But
and what about the cat? I have to ask. I'm sorry.
The cat is, I believe, safely in the custody of Miss Morgan, but and I think she had the intention of taking it home with her, and given I've seen her healing abilities in action, if that cat was not dead, it's probably in fine health by now.
Good to know.
But
enough about the cat, for fuck's sake.
Oh, I asked 1 question. Come on, get off my ass.
So I answer questions when they're asked, so don't worry about it. Moving on. Mr. Collins did 2 things. First thing he did was to do something with his staff and his shadow. Again, it was not a spell. It was something to do with him. But his shadow seemed alive. It moved in a way that is not natural, and anyone who sees it would know this. And he stood in such a way that his shadow fell near the children, and they were able to see it, I believe. It, of course, terrified them because people's shadows don't move like that. That's not supposed to happen. And then while they were they were babbling with terror at that point, he went through the motions as if he were placing his own hex on them. I can tell you he did not actually do anything. He went through the motions. It may have Maybe it has cultural significance, but there was no actual magic in what he did.
Mhm.
But he made them think he was doing it. And between that and what he did with the shadow, that is as good as telling several children, oh, look, we're not normal, and there's strange shit in your world. Two of them apparently survived this encounter, just probably shitting their pants and running at top speeds. The third one did not have that option because the other two, Miss Morgan and Kali, had intercepted the child and retrieved the cat. I did not hear what was said between them. They both, I believe, spoke with them. I saw Miss Morgan put her hands on the child's back, but she was not harming him, or not harming her, just stopping her from running, I believe. But after they were done speaking, they came back, and a moment later, Glasspaw was the last one to walk inside, and apparently whatever they had done with the child, or whatever was said, or it could have been just what they saw. I have no reason to believe it was anything other than what they saw, in fact. But whatever the case, the child awoke. Glasspaw sensed it happening and called us back out to deal with it. It was somewhat terrifying, much more aggressive than mine. I mean, mine was apparently more potent than some, but it was not that bad. They had there was a voice through the child, and it pointed straight at Collins and said he had. What was the exact wording, Adam? If you recall?
I believe, if I remember correctly, he said something akin to.
You've destroyed a child's soul.
You have shattered or sundered the soul of a child. You must now.
Sundered. That was the word. That was the word. Sundered. Yes, that he had sundered the soul of the child, and then he fell through some sort of hole, and that was the last we saw of him. But when we had the owner of the bar, who, as I may have mentioned, he may have been one of us. He took the child inside and seemed to be able to calm her somewhat. But while he was speaking with her, the discussion as to what had happened and whose fault it was became somewhat vocal. And then, yes,
a shouting match ensued.
Yes, to the point where the man in the back, I believe, did something to dampen our voices. By that point, several people were already storming out of the establishment, and apparently black vans were already starting to roll up to the street where this had happened. Most people were gone by the time they were starting to deploy, I believe. So I don't believe anyone was taken, but still, that was entirely avoidable.
He kind of slaps his hand on the table. Does nobody think about the repercussions of their actions?
Thank God. For a second, I thought you were going to say, well, no one think of the children.
I guess
I was expecting.
She'll look to you, to Kurzweil, and say, "What's your name?"
I am Kevin Warwick, but please call me Kurzweil.
Okay. She writes that down, like, kind of as fast as she can, and she'll say, "So, I mean, I don't know. I guess Kevin or Kurzweil. Some people have to learn about the consequences eventually."
I don't believe any of the people involved, well, perhaps the one who disappeared, Mr. Collins, maybe he will learn something about, again, whatever he did, it may not have been a spell, but it was designed to put terror in the child. They had done something foolish and sadistic, yes, but...
Proportions, man.
Exactly. There were other ways to have solved that. He could have simply pretended to place the hex on them, and that probably would have been enough to terrify them.
Well, not just that. Trying to...
Or he could have simply threatened to...
Trying to meet kids, being violent with more kind of, I guess you could say, a violent wave, or using violent sort of magics isn't really going to help anything get better. Usually
No.
kids, usually, at least in my experience, when kids are punished, they just want to rebel and act out more and want to harm the world more out of resentment. So,
Yep.
On that same note, by the way, he's going to just look. He's going to look at the three present and just be like, "All right." So just to clarify here, he raises his hand. Order of Hermes. He points towards Kurzweil. Virtual Adept.
Yes.
Points towards Daniela. Eh?
Independent.
And points to Eric. Eh?
Nothing, I think.
Yeah,
Oh.
for right now, it's nothing.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know much. I worked with you at least before. He nods to Eric, though you by the end of it you were considerably less attired.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, you
Yes.
doing okay since you fell? She kind of says that with a question mark.
He looked at her and again the melancholy in his body language also probably contributed to his anger tonight. He looked at her and says, "I needed to we were out in public. I needed to watch what I said, but it was apparently something much more powerful than just a seizure. It was." What did the bartender in the other place call it? A vision or a seeking or something like that.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, well, it. I feel like shit, and I felt like shit before I joined. Before I took part in that little shit show. So I don't know. I think I failed. I don't know.
Well, Friedrich Nietzsche said that to live is to suffer, but to survive is to find the meaning. So, still, congratulations.
He smiles. Well, thank you. I'll put that positive spin on it if I can. Thank you.
Maybe it's not about meaning.
Come again, sir?
But
if I just might give a word of advice, and you can take this for, and he uses air quotes for this, traditional hermetic counseling / propaganda. However, we are in a city right now that's dealing with quite a few problems. Armageddon is coming in less than 3 months. Like, by the way, is Kurzweil going to react to that one?
He slaps. He face palms so loud that it echoes across the room.
Armageddon is coming in a little under 3 months, and there's also the issue with the infernalism and the Inquisition and all of these other things piling on top of each other. This is not a good time to not have a camp.
Absolutely. As he takes out a Rapture survival card and throws it on the table.
So you both might. By the way, if I suddenly disappear, guys, by the way, it's because there is a thunderstorm in my area. I just heard thunder. So
yeah, I hear it too.
Oh, I heard that too. Shit.
So just letting you know that. But usually the connection's pretty good here. So if it dies, I'll just post what we have. But anyways, because I know it's getting late on Mark's end. Okay, so he's just going to say, but I don't know much about either of you. Could you perhaps tell me how you do what you do? How you do the voodoo that you do so well?
For the record, I do have a group of people that I'm with, and
well, no, I meant not a group of people like the four of us or something. I meant a craft or tradition.
Eric sighs. Well, for my part, I'm a doctor, and that means that I mostly use the tools of my trade, I suppose.
So you're a healer?
Yes.
What sort of tool? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, me too. But especially this thing here. He He kind of pulls down his shirt, and you see a gauntlet that looks like it's got like a face full of buttons all over it. It's also got this little all these different diodes and things all over it. It's like I do the same thing, only mostly through hyper technology. I don't really know that I buy magic itself. I think, like what Arthur C. Clarke said, sufficiently advanced technology is indeterminable from magic. And that's what I use.
I believe there's logic to both camps. I have seen gods and I have seen demons, so magic seems pretty likely to me. But I've also been on a flying spaceship that apparently goes through alternate dimensions, seen stasis tubes and all sorts of other things. I think there's logic in both camps. Both obviously.
Guess that makes two of us. There's Stefanos.
But it also helps that I have a PhD in robotics, so you will not hear me at any point say, "Oh no, there's no such thing as technology or science."
Oh, on that notion, you said you work on robotics.
When I have time, I spend more time smithing now.
My friend here, Galatea, she's a little more than she seems, and she's a little too advanced for me. If she were to break, I couldn't fix her, and then I would never be able to forgive myself. You see, you said you awakened powerfully, and so did I. This thing on my wrist, this female here, it came with me, and I don't know about any of it.
Well, that is very unfortunate. I know. Look. I've seen severed robotic heads. I know what's beyond me at the moment. I couldn't even tell that she's a robot to look at her. I'm fairly certain that she's beyond my skill at this moment. However, I am learning. I have manuals and everything. So I'll keep you posted, and in the meantime, just try not to put her in harm's way. Sound like a good idea to everyone else?
Absolutely. That's such a tall order, because she agreed to protect me, and it's just a matter of time.
Then keep yourself out of harm's way as much as possible.
Yes.
That's what I've been doing.
I got caught up in an explosion a week and a half back. I wasn't even expecting it. I was trying to run away. I fell on my ass, and this thing saved my life. It saved my freaking life, dude.
Well, just try and stay out of anything harmful. You can't protect yourself against random explosions, but just do what you can. To what I was saying, Eric, you said you're a doctor and you use the tools of your trade, so you have a more scientific bent, a medical bent?
He nods, yes.
Nothing overtly mystic, then?
Apart from the fact that I can put my hand on someone and actually heal them, unlike the televangelists that steal people's money, then no. I hope there are no evangelicals among these characters, because then those might have been fighting words. But
Kurzweil slaps his knee and he laughs.
No, I think you're safe. All right. He's going to look over at Daniela, and I don't know if I've ever actually seen you work anything.
That's because I guess you could say I don't quite have. It's not that I necessarily don't have the comprehension. I haven't put enough practice into what I've seen to make it into something true.
What do you currently do? Like, describe anything maybe that you've done?
Build mental palaces. Attempt to kind of know which places can, kind of find the easy path, the easy road that'll lead less to trouble. See things, look into the world of spirits and draw them.
And how do you typically do these things? With tools, mental discipline?
Well, I have theoretical tools that I've been designing up, but right now it's mostly, certain gestures. Honestly, parts of it are my imagination.
So essentially whatever works for you.
in essence.
All right.
Wow.
I mean, that's it's if it works, it works, as I said. But
Honestly, I'm
I
not
stand
really.
by what I stand by what I said. Though it might be a good idea if you both started shopping for a camp, not a group of people, because I do not believe there is any small group of people potent enough to protect from all the things that are happening right now. But membership in a larger organization might help. I cannot truly say that either of you are, well, I was going to say neither of you are perfect matches for the Order, but I'm not the perfect match either, so that's not exactly a discounted anything. I know they have healers, though I do not know the details, and I know that there are some houses that use technology. That is as much as I can probably safely say. As for, it sounds as if your abilities, Daniela, are still forming. So
I guess you could
perhaps
say
you
there's
have
been a lot
many
going
options before you.
I guess you could say there's been a lot going on, and I'm just trying to find my way. But I think a lot of it will have to do with tech. And maybe, I don't know. I guess I'm still thinking it through.
Well, there are quite a few people in the city who seem to understand technology, so perhaps we will find something for you.
No, I already know someone that deals with it. I've been learning quite a lot from her.
Well, that is good. Anyone we know, or
I don't think you guys would know her. No.
wait, was it
I
a
don't
her
know.
or him, or was he?
She said her.
Okay. Very well.
We'll see if I join a camp, but at this point, I know it's probably the best thing to do is to join a big group of these, individuals, but I think with some personal musings and meditations, I honestly think the best thing I can do is just take in what I can from everyone instead of going one particular road.
If I might recommend, and this is just something to consider, you are still trying to find your path. And as you say, it is not always the best idea to simply choose one path when you are not sure which path is viable. However, keep your options open, and depending on in which direction your abilities flow, that may help determine which path is most appropriate for you. The technology itself is not a bar to most groups. From what I understand, the Order, for example, is known to be very mystical. The Verbena are known to be very mystical. The only two that are specifically known to be technological are the Virtual Adepts, he nods towards Kurzweil, and the Aetherites, like Miss Hoth. But from what others have told me, there are people who use technology in all of the other traditions to some capacity or another. So your options are still open.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm not saying that if you were to join one group or another, there won't be some who would judge you for not using crystal balls. But it's yes. As for you, though, Eric, if you feel at any point like you might want a little more structure, you could always ask the Order. I can say that they take their apprentices very seriously, and they do their best to teach them and train them. And permission to speak bluntly, the deciding factor in my case was that there are people in the Order who will lay down their life to protect you, even if they don't know you from Adam, so long as you're a member of the Order.
Wow.
Eric nods seriously and says, I will take that under advisement. He says, I want something. I need... Right now, what I need to do is go home, get some sleep. I have I have an early morning shift, and I'll deal with all of this shit after tomorrow.
Best of luck. If you see any infernalists, don't ask for coffee.
He grins. Yeah.
Like, that'll be the conversation for next time.
Yes.
Yeah.
If somebody asks for 6 lumps of sugar, you know to avoid them.
Yeah. So, do you have to get going, Mark, or?
Yeah, it's like 3 a.m. here.
Oh yeah, go for it, man. Okay.
Yeah, see you guys.
Later. Stefanos is actually going to look at the other two and just say, so how much do you know about the Infernalist issue that's been going on?
I know fuck all. Like I said.
Well, I was there for the thing in the cathedral, and
yes, sorry.
I was also there when that whole thing happened here with that woman.
Yes, so you're actually as familiar with it as I am, and since you have been in the city longer, you might even know more than I do. But
I know there was some. I don't remember the name of it. God damn, I have to scour through my notes, but I remember there was some other thing or church or something like that, like some cult that might have been lurking around, but I didn't have the mental faculties to even deal with it at the time, and I certainly don't now.
It's quite understandable. For your benefit, he looks towards Kurzweil. To put it bluntly, there have been issues in the city with demons, and that's a bad thing. There's one demon running around whose name is, well, I'm not going to say it, but everyone else does, so why shouldn't I? But still, you're familiar with the parable of the Faustian bargain?
Yes.
That's his name.
Faustus is in town?
Something of that nature, yes. But apparently he made a deal with one of the Magi in the city, a woman named Yuki, who I do not believe she... Let me put it this way. Everything that she said and everything that everyone else said and what the demon itself said, not that that should be trusted by itself, indicated that whatever deal she made, she was attempting to protect the city. That does not excuse it, but it at least tells us that this person is not someone trying to sacrifice babies for world domination. There are echelons of this thing. There are those who will stop at nothing for power, and there are those who did something very stupid. Both of them may have severe consequences, and should. But the latter one, the former is the sort that gets hunted down with absolutely no mitigating circumstances. The latter, I don't know if even they would be allowed clemency in some courts, but...
Yeah, you don't make deals with the demons, you know? It's like they will twist things on you, and they'll make it work against you and for them. It's just a bad thing.
You mean like causing Armageddon, which is what that deal has done.
Oh, shit on me.
Yes. I will not give you the full rundown because it would take longer than I believe any of us would like to spend. But the short version is whatever the deal was, the price that she paid was to allow the demon to name her firstborn child. And apparently this was taken as permission to grant it a true name, which apparently inscribes the essence of the one who is named. It makes you what you are. So, well, how to put this? Due to a lengthy series of events and situations, possibly caused by the demon, but where other people were involved, the demon got a hold of the name of the second coming.
Uh-oh.
And it appears that it may have given that name to the child. And that child is magically going to be born on September 10th, which is the date of some sort of dimensional convergence. All the gateways of the realms will be open, or something like that, except for the gates of hell, which it appears that this demon may be attempting to open the gates of hell. So, yes, all of these things are horrible. But the truly awful part, in my opinion, obviously is the end of the world, but I can only process so much, to be quite honest.
Well, I don't want to say anything that sounds very grim and very crude and cruel, but it seems like the only way to stop that is to prevent the child from coming into the world.
I'm sure there are others who have that idea. Apparently the Inquisition was at some point informed of what was going on. They have been asking around, trying to find this mage.
Yeah, I think I saw her once at this dinner party, and then things went really weird.
Here's the problem. Infernalism, from everything I was told and from what my master has told me, is universally frowned on. And in most situations, if one mage was known to have made a deal with the devil, retribution would be swift and universal. It would come from every one of the traditions. Whoever was responsible would be the one to pay the price, but everyone would expect this to be the matter of prime importance. You found an infernalist. It's like finding a Nefandi or a marauder. You deal with it. If that means killing them, it means killing them. If that means capturing them and seeing what happened, and how much is truly happening to get to the bottom of it, then that happens. But it's like, regardless, it's dealt with.
Yeah. If you have a tumor, you cut it out. Period.
Something to that effect. But unfortunately, that does not seem to be the prevailing opinion among most of the magi I have met here, because I know there was at least one mage, a woman named Lottie, who apparently already knew about this. And did nothing. There may have been others, but that's the only one I know of. But what I'm saying is, you have someone who is... There were many people present during the first incidents of this, where we were at the Agrabah Nights and Faust arrived and things went very crazy. And Miss Yuki admitted to the deal at the time. As I said, this did not seem to be news to certain people, but there were several people there who heard it. No one made any attempt to do anything at the time. No one attempted to contact anyone, do anything. There was the Archbishop, who is now retired, or gone into self-imposed exile of a sort, was present, but
he penitence, which I don't know.
I hope he returns at some point, but...
Well, if you say you're on a path and you have a belief and then you don't live that, that makes you a hypocrite. And I can't believe we're surrounded by fucking hypocrites. That really deeply upsets me.
Honestly, people are, I don't know, the world is a very confusing and strange place. I don't know, sometimes I don't blame people.
I'm mostly concerned with what will happen when you have a city where someone admits to being an infernalist, and it becomes known to the wider body of mages that there are many mages here who are not doing anything about it. That would be seen as, even if we are not infernalists ourselves, and we have no taint, we openly allow this. No one has raised a hand. No one has done anything. I am not suggesting that one of us simply run up and do anything. And I don't personally believe that justice should be taken into anyone's hands as a mob. But that is what our elders are for. That is what the masters are for.
But when they're not acting, what are you supposed to do?
I do not believe that the masters were aware of all of this. I don't know if anyone. I do not know all the revered masters of the city. I have only met the Archbishop and my own master. And also Master Siren. But his health is diminished. I do hope people are taking care of him.
Yes, I remember him. Nice fellow. Poor guy.
But there are others who could be involved in this. Hopefully something will be done at some point. And hopefully it will be done soon enough that the repercussions will not fall on all of us. Though, again, as you said, the end of the world does affect all of us if nothing is done to prevent it. But for all we know, preventing the birth of the child in any way would possibly bring about an earlier or a different Armageddon. After all, think about it. If the child is the second coming, and the child is prevented from being born, you just prevented the second coming. There would be consequences to that.
Oh yeah, I'd probably piss off a lot of demons, but I don't particularly care if those guys dislike me.
It might also throw a monkey wrench into the plans of heaven. Just saying. Jesus is not going to be born again. That's a problem. I'm not Christian, but I mean, it sounds like it is a big deal from what I remember of Orthodox Church.
It's a very big deal, so much so that there are entire denominations of Christianity that, are preparing for it and think it's done. I guess they're right.
So there are these hoity-toity religious people who just want to welcome the end of the world because of their beliefs. And fuck anybody else who doesn't share that belief.
I mean, I think that's not really the point of this, but it's more to do with the fact that what I'm saying is I do not have a solution. What I am saying is there are others who are older and wiser whose opinions should be sought.
Yeah, I hear you.
Now, you, Miss Daniela, have been in the city for a while. Do you know of anyone other than Master Siren, other than the Archbishop, and other than Magister D'Onofrier? Do you know of anyone in the city older or powerful enough who might have some input on this or advice or have authority to make a decision? I do not even know if the traditions have a leader in the city right now. The previous was the Archbishop, and his successor has declared independence from the traditions.
Shit.
So that's the thing. I'm really trying to think. I mean, there's the group I'm with, but I wouldn't necessarily consider them individuals to be of authority. They're just skilled in their own right, but they're more like I guess a individual group that wants to protect mages. I mean, we could. I don't know if they'd be cool with it. I guess I could have you talk to them if you want, but other than that, I don't really know anybody else. I'm trying to think.
You could.
He's really trying to think and remembering because Adam feels like he's forgetting something.
Well, see, there's a short list of masters that I know about in the city. There's Croshaw, which I'm not including in this because Stefano's that's already being dealt with separately, and there's D'Onofrier, who we already discounted for this. There's the Archbishop, who's gone, Master Siren, and also the new guy who's heading up the Canticle of Lamentations, but they're again separate. I don't know if there's any other masters other than oh shit, he'll remember this one. He looks at you both. There is one person. Well, actually, two.
Go on.
I don't like the idea of what either of them would do. One of them genuinely might not care, and that scares me. I really don't want to have confirmation of them not caring. That would be Gravedigger.
Who's that?
a extremely powerful and influential Hollow One who is a necromancer.
Oh, okay.
He has a ghostly galleon flying ship, apparently, and other things, I'm told. He is crewed by the dead, and he's generally a very mercenary person. I can't imagine he would feel inclined to get involved unless it became personal for him. So
the world is going to end. Isn't that affecting him?
I mean, he could just go and live off in the Umbra.
As if there is an Umbra with Project Morpheus.
I do not know if that. I can't make any guesses. That is all well beyond my understanding. But the other person, and it's scary that this is only slightly more reasonable than approaching him. He pulls out a card. Actually, well, yeah, it is actually a card, I think. Because I think I'll have to double check it with Evan. I'll assume there's no card for the moment, but I'm pretty sure I got one. There was a man, the first time I came here, who was butchering vampires.
Wow.
He is known as Saisho, the Ebon Dragon, and he leads the Akashic.
Oh, yes, I remember him. He helped me escape that weird party. Everything started going to hell, and he made a portal.
That sounds like an interesting party.
Yes. Very strange things occurred.
But he is at the very least, he is a very ominous individual, but I would imagine that for despite any perceived faults or temperamental issues, he is still of the Nine Traditions, and he strikes me as someone who takes his role very seriously. It is possible that he could be approached on this matter, but I would hesitate to do so alone, simply because he is not of my group.
Well, me either. Seems like something we share in common. Maybe we should put our heads together.
I think perhaps he looks at Daniela. Since you witnessed those same two events, do you think at some point when you are feeling up to it, we could attempt to speak to him? Would you be willing to do that? You do not have masters to go to, and I have already gone to mine. So
I don't have them either.
Yes, I did not hear that there were any virtual adept masters in the city, but perhaps you have some among you who are more experienced? Glasspaw is new to the city. You are new to the city.
Yes.
I do not know any others.
Out of character, has Kurzweil gone to digital web? Ever?
No, he's never been in the web.
Okay, never mind. I'm not going to say anything.
Do you have VA
to clarify, you mean he's never projected to the web? You've used the digital web, right?
Yes, of course. But I've never been.
Okay.
That's why I said I've never been. That's why I said I've never been in the web. I've been on it, but not in it.
Out of character, you know that you could probably go to virtual adept hangouts in the web and talk to them about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, would you be willing to potentially accompany me at some point for that?
Danielle seems to think.
I do not believe. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Look, how would you feel if I said no?
I would most likely have to go on my own or find one other person who witnessed both events to go with me, but he's thinking to himself, most of those who witnessed the event did not seem overly perturbed, so I cannot guarantee that I would find anyone.
Just for clarification, what two events do you mean?
The event that occurred here, where there was a incident with Faust, and a follow-up encounter which occurred at the Archbishop's church. That one involved other things, but it was relevant.
All right.
I think with some of the mistakes I've been having and some of the occurrences that I currently have to deal with, I think I have to bow out. I don't think it would be responsible for me right now.
Well, that's your choice, Daniela.
That is your
need
choice.
a lot more time to. I don't know if I'll be able to do it before the end of the world comes, but I think I need a lot more time to make sure I'm not a burden and more of a boon instead.
Would you at least permit me to name you as a witness? He may wish to seek you out at some point to speak to you. I doubt he would, in all honesty. But
Sure, if you want to put me as a witness, that's fine.
all right.
That's a fair compromise.
Well, I should say, Daniela, that none of us here are all powerful. And I don't take you as a burden. There's nothing wrong with being magically weak, as it were. Just don't stay that way.
It's not about being magically weak.
There are other issues going on. It's not to do with her level of power. It's other things going on.
Oh, very well.
If you have any aura sight, do you have any aura sights on?
Yeah, I'm not on, but I can activate them.
Yeah, if you want, that's something you can
All right.
do.
All right. I'll go ahead and I'll just kind of pull my goggles over my face, kind of twist some dials. And anybody on Discord, can you roll 3 for me?
3 dice to 4. I mean, you can take an extra turn to roll the dials and make it easier. Got a 4 and a 10 and a 2, so you activate them.
Okay. So in auras, what do I see?
Well, there's the sparkliness. Her aura flickers. It's a flickering aura. And she's very sad, depressed, and let me see I'm checking the aura chart. She is blue. She has a very blue aura. Which is calm. She has like this kind of dark green kind of circling the whole thing. There is orange, painful blacks, and a lot of uncertainty, a sad uncertainty with silvers and grays. And the flickering to you suggests that they either are in quiet or they have a dementia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, seems like you've got a lot on your plate. I wish I could help you more.
That's cool. I just need quiet. That's all I need. So.
Oh, all right. I understand you.
Well, I will. I should go make some preparations if I'm to visit with that fellow. You said you met him, and he rescued you from the party. Do you know by chance where I might find him?
Yeah. He tells you the name of the temple that he came out of. As a player, I don't remember it, but he will tell it to you.
Temple of 1,000 Happinesses, I believe.
Okay.
Something like that. But okay,
yeah.
So he'll jot down the name and nod. Well, hopefully your recovery goes well. And just try to remember when the Inquisition comes knocking. It's not a good thing. There's not much I can say in that regard. Simply just let's hope the problem gets solved by someone soon.
Absolutely. We are definitely running low on time.
And does anyone have anything else we really want to do, or because I'm getting
Danielle probably has
frantic
food.
nudges to
She ordered to arrive. But I got nothing else.
anything else, Rick?
No, I'm cool. I think I've pretty much covered all my bases.
Okay. In that case, I will end the scene here. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. And have a good night.